Mia was only 11. She was blind, but she knew her neighborhood like the back of her hand. Every sidewalk crack, every turn, every sound. That afternoon, she was just walking home from school, tapping her cane. But when her cane brushed against a neighbor's lawn, Karen stepped out with a garden hose. She yelled, "Stay off my grass!" and sprayed Mia full force. What Karen didn't know was that 3 neighbors had security cameras running, and what those cameras captured would change everything. Mia, an 11-year-old girl, walked home alone every school day. She was blind since birth. Her world was sound, rhythm, texture, memory. She counted sidewalk cracks beneath her sneakers. She recognized the houses by their wind chimes, the pattern of lawn sprinklers, the barking dogs behind fences. Her white cane tapped left, right, left as she moved with quiet certainty. The street was safe, a quiet cul-de-sac where everyone knew Mia. They waved, smiled, greeted her by name. She couldn't see their faces, but she always answered with a polite hi and a soft smile. She passed the same houses, same driveways, same voices. Routine was everything, predictable, familiar. At 3:22 p.m., she reached the corner lot where the sidewalk curved slightly toward a sloped lawn. The grass was always perfectly trimmed. No toys, no kids. The owner, Karen Whitlock, had lived there for 5 years. She didn't wave, she didn't smile. She never acknowledged Mia. Mia's cane brushed the edge of the lawn, not on purpose, not with force, just a soft sweep across the boundary where concrete met earth. It was a motion she did 100 times a day. A reflex, part of how she measured the world. That was when the door slammed open. "Get off my grass!" a voice snapped. Mia froze mid-step. The cane stopped, her head tilted, confused. She recognized the voice, but not the tone. It was sharp, angry, aimed like a weapon. She didn't move. She didn't speak. The air changed. Suddenly colder, louder. Water blasted her chest without warning. The impact knocked her a half step back. Cold spray hit her face, her shirt, her shoes. Her cane dropped from her hand. The force wasn't strong enough to hurt, but it was deliberate, sustained, cruel. Karen stood on the porch holding a green garden hose. Her hand gripped the nozzle like she'd been waiting for this moment. Her eyes burned with misplaced righteousness. Her lips curled into something between fury and smugness. "I said stay off it," she yelled again. Mia stood motionless, soaked. Her arms hung at her sides. Water ran down her glasses and dripped from her hair. She didn't understand. She hadn't stepped on anything. She hadn't done anything wrong. She bent down slowly, felt around until her fingers closed around the cane. She didn't say a word. She turned toward the sidewalk and resumed walking. The tapping resumed. Left, right, left. Fainter now, as if the sound itself had retreated. Karen muttered something under her breath and turned off the hose. She stepped back inside, letting the door slam behind her. The street was quiet again. But what Karen didn't realize, what she never thought to consider, was that this wasn't the same street it used to be. 3 neighbors had doorbell cameras, and they were all recording. Mia walked the last 2 blocks home, soaked to the skin. Her cane tapped slower than usual. Water dripped from her sleeves. Her socks squished inside her shoes. She didn't cry. She didn't ask for help. She followed the same invisible path as always. Sidewalk seam, fence post, mailbox, 3rd crack after the red fire hydrant, and turned into her driveway. Her father opened the front door before she even reached it. He'd been standing by the window wondering why she was late by 4 minutes. When he saw her, dripping, silent, head low, he froze. "What happened?" he asked, stepping outside. Mia shrugged lightly. Her voice was flat. "The grass lady sprayed me." He blinked. "What?" She got mad. "I think I stepped too close." She walked past him, shoes squeaking on the tile. He followed her inside, tried to get more out of her, but Mia said nothing else. She went to her room and shut the door. He stood in the hallway for a moment, processing what she'd said. Then he turned and walked back outside. Next door, Mrs. Clemens was watering her tomato plants. She was 70, sharp-eyed and friendly with everyone on the street, except Karen. He asked, "Did you see anything weird a few minutes ago?" She looked up. "With Mia?" "Yeah." Mrs. Clemens didn't answer. She walked to her front porch, opened the app on her phone, and replayed her doorbell camera footage. Then she turned the phone toward him. He watched the video in silence. Mia walking calmly, Karen screaming. The hose. The girl standing there, wet, confused, saying nothing. He didn't ask for a copy. She sent it without being asked. An hour later, 2 more neighbors had done the same. One caught it from the other side of the street. Another from a second-story window. Different angles. Same story. No yelling from Mia. No provocation. Just one blind child, a patch of grass, and a hose used like a weapon. He saved the clips, labeled them. Timestamps, addresses, camera angles. Not out of rage, out of clarity. His daughter had been humiliated in public, and now he had proof. He didn't sleep. After Mia went to bed, he sat at the kitchen table with his laptop open and 3 video files staring back at him. One from the Clemens doorbell cam, one from across the street, one from a neighbor's upstairs window. All 3 showed the same thing from different angles. His daughter, soaking wet, standing still, holding nothing but confusion. He played the first clip. Mia walked like she always did, slow, steady, tapping her cane. Her foot never touched the grass. Her cane just barely brushed the edge. That's when Karen came out, screaming, hose in hand. "Get off my lawn!" And then she sprayed her, full force. Mia didn't scream, didn't flinch, didn't even lift her arms. She just stood there, taking it. Then bent down, picked up her cane, and kept walking. The second video showed it clearer, from across the street. The third showed the moment Mia was hit, frame by frame, in silence. He didn't yell, didn't break anything. He just sat there, jaw clenched, watching the videos over and over like they might somehow change. By 11:46 p.m., he made a decision. No rage post, no commentary. He opened the neighborhood Facebook group. Local folks, a few thousand members, mostly used for lost pets and garage sales. He uploaded the first video, the clearest one. No caption, no filter, just the raw clip. He hit post. 6 minutes later, 3 likes. 10 minutes after that, 12 comments. By morning, the clip had over 3,000 shares. People didn't just react. They rallied. Someone re-uploaded the video with a caption. "She's blind. She's 11. This is how a grown woman treats her for walking too close to some grass." Another wrote, "That poor girl didn't even move. She didn't fight back. She just stood there." That broke me. Screenshots started popping up everywhere. Instagram, TikTok, even Reddit. One post read, "It wasn't water. It was humiliation." Local parents were furious. Teachers started sharing it. A disability rights group DM'd him asking for permission to repost. He hadn't planned for any of this. He didn't want it to blow up. He just wanted someone to see what was done to her. Now the whole city was watching. By morning, the footage had over 60,000 views and was being reposted with captions like, "She just stood there," and "Grass isn't sacred. Children are." It wasn't just viral. It was personal. Mia wasn't some anonymous victim. She lived on their block. People had waved to her, heard her tapping cane, watched her grow up. Now suddenly they all saw what they hadn't seen before. How easy it was to be cruel to someone who couldn't see it coming. The first sign appeared taped to a utility pole across from Karen's house. A black and white still of Mia dripping wet, standing silently with her cane. Below it, "This is not who we are." No names, no hashtags, just the truth. By afternoon, someone had chalked, "Mia deserves better," in giant letters across the sidewalk in front of Karen's yard. By evening, kids were drawing chalk hearts leading all the way to Mia's driveway. Karen came outside twice to spray it off. Each time, someone filmed her. Both videos were uploaded. One hit 20K views in 6 hours. A group of middle schoolers walked past her house in silence that evening, all tapping broomsticks like canes. No one said a word. Karen opened her door, saw them, and froze. They kept walking. More videos. The next day, a dad walked his toddler past Karen's house. The kid stepped onto her lawn. Karen shouted from the porch, "Don't touch my grass!" The dad turned around, raised his phone, and said, "Already did," then walked on. Someone filmed it from a second-story window. That video broke 100,000 by nightfall. Karen tried to defend herself in a private neighborhood group. She was faking it, she wrote. She knew exactly what she was doing. A screenshot leaked in less than an hour. Now people weren't just upset. They were angry, furious, because Mia hadn't even told anyone. She hadn't posted, hadn't fought back. She just walked home, quietly soaked. The cameras did the rest. The HOA board met on Zoom that night. Karen wasn't invited. The next morning, her position on the landscaping committee was gone. Her access to the HOA portal was revoked. An official statement went up. "We do not support the actions of this resident. The HOA stands with Mia." Karen tried to file a harassment complaint against her neighbors. She claimed they were targeting her, vandalizing her sidewalk, violating her privacy. The response from the board was short. "This is the result of your own actions. We suggest staying inside for a while." She did. By Friday, no one saw Karen outside. But Mia walked past her house again. Same route, same tap-tap of her cane. Only this time, every porch light was on, and nobody yelled. By Sunday, the clip had passed 300,000 views. Local news picked it up with a headline that said everything. "Blind girl sprayed for walking too close to grass." Neighborhood cameras tell the story. Channel 5 showed it at 6 p.m. Channel 7 ran it again at 10. The footage was played on loop. No edits, no commentary. Just silence, spray, and stillness. 3 seconds that made people sick to their stomach. Karen's name wasn't in the report, but everyone knew. Her house was already a landmark. The lawn had become a symbol. Some locals started calling it the line, the place where people finally stopped looking away. The city council issued a statement. The school board called Mia's family. Her principal visited the house with flowers and an apology for not noticing sooner. A disability advocacy group reached out to offer support. A lawyer volunteered pro bono if they chose to take it further. Mia's father declined. He said, "We're not here for money, just for dignity." Karen didn't leave her house for days. When she finally did, hood up, glasses on, someone snapped a photo. She was walking fast, alone, gripping her phone like a weapon. The caption read, "Funny how she couldn't see anyone before. Now she won't make eye contact with anyone." Her porch, once decorated with seasonal wreaths and trimmed hedges, now sat bare. No lights. No welcome mat. Someone had written MIA's Street in chalk on the sidewalk in front of her fence. She sprayed it off. It came back the next morning, again and again. At the next HOA meeting, 42 residents showed up in person. The usual attendance was 6. The first speaker, a retired firefighter, said, "We all saw the video. We all live here. This isn't just a Karen problem, this is a silence problem." Applause broke out. No one tried to stop it. Someone passed around a petition to ban Karen from future meetings indefinitely. It hit 84 signatures in 10 minutes. She never showed. Local reporters came by for follow-up interviews. Mia's father refused most of them. He said they weren't looking for attention, just decency. But when asked what he wanted people to take away from the story, he only said, "You don't need to see to deserve respect." By the end of the week, Karen's house was listed for sale. Motivated seller. People said they saw her crying on her back porch. No one knocked. Mia didn't ask for any of it. The interviews, the chalk drawings, the t-shirts. She just wanted her routine back. Same sidewalk, same steps, same turn at the mailbox. Her world was made of rhythm and quiet and safety. She didn't care about internet numbers. She couldn't see the headlines. But she felt the shift. She could hear it in the way people greeted her now, slower, warmer, closer to her level. Some voices shook when they said her name. Others called her brave. That word didn't make sense to her. She didn't feel brave. She hadn't fought. She hadn't yelled. She just stood there. At school, someone held her tray at lunch. Someone else added Braille labels to her locker without asking. One kid slipped a card into her backpack that said, "If I could unsee what happened, I wouldn't. I needed to." She didn't talk much about it. Not at home, not at school. She didn't need to. Her silence had already said everything. One afternoon, a teacher walked her outside. On the school fence, painted in bright letters, were the words, "MIA. We see you." She didn't cry, but she smiled, slowly, like someone realizing she hadn't been walking alone all this time. The sidewalk home felt different. Not louder, just more present. She felt wind chimes that hadn't been there before, heard new footsteps on familiar pavement. Someone had planted flowers along the fence line. She knew by the smell. Fresh soil, damp roots, lavender. A woman called her name from a porch. Mia paused. "Hi, sweetheart," the voice said softly. "How was school today?" Mia answered, "Good," and kept walking. The voice was new, but the tone felt safe. By the time she reached Karen's house, she didn't tense up like before. The air was quiet. No hose, no shouting, just the soft tapping of her cane and the rustle of wind through a tree someone had finally watered. In front of the yard, someone had laid a flat, painted stone near the grass. She couldn't read it, but her cane touched it gently. Her hand followed the edge. It was smooth, clean, solid. She walked on. The idea didn't come from her parents, or the school board, or the internet. It came from a 12-year-old boy in her class who whispered to a teacher, "If she can walk that route alone, we can walk it with her." By Friday, it wasn't just an idea. It was a route map, a time, a sign-up sheet. Walk with Mia. No speeches, no signs, just footsteps. Her dad wasn't sure about it at first. Too much attention, too much spotlight. But Mia listened quietly and said, "I don't mind if they walk." That was all she needed to say. The school sent out an email. The post went up in the same neighborhood group where the original video first appeared. No hashtags, just a message. She never asked for protection, but she deserves company. At 3:15 p.m. on Monday, Mia stepped out of the school doors like she always did. Cane in one hand, backpack on her shoulders, same steady tapping rhythm. But this time, she wasn't alone. First, it was 2 classmates, then a teacher, then 3 parents, then a man with a service dog, then an elderly couple from the next block, then 20 more. Some carried canes, some closed their eyes as they walked, some walked silently, others guided someone beside them. A few wore shirts that said, "Tap, tap, I'm with Mia." Nobody cheered, nobody filmed. The only sound was the soft percussion of feet on pavement and the quiet tap-tap of Mia's cane, now joined by dozens of others. She didn't turn around, didn't ask who was there, but she knew. They passed Karen's house. The blinds were shut, no lights. A for sale sign was planted in the front lawn. No one looked at it for long. Someone had written on the sidewalk in white chalk, "You don't need sight to be seen." Mia paused, felt the texture under her shoes, and smiled without asking why. The group continued on. No destination, no chant, just a simple walk home. A walk she'd done alone for years. A walk that now belonged to everyone. The walk wasn't a one-time thing. It happened again the next week. Fewer people, fewer cameras, no announcements. Just quiet footsteps beside hers. Some came all the way. Some joined for half a block. Some waved from porches. But she was never alone again. The chalk on the sidewalk faded slowly. Rain softened the words. Time pressed them into dust. But something stayed. Something that didn't wash off. The for sale sign in front of Karen's house stayed up for 3 weeks. Then it disappeared. So did she. No one missed her. No one mentioned her. The house sat dark and empty, and when it finally sold, the new owners planted wildflowers where the lawn used to be. Mia noticed the scent before anyone else. At school, the teachers stopped asking if she was okay. They started asking what she needed. She didn't need much, just space, just routine, just respect, and a world that didn't treat her like she had to earn those things. One afternoon, her father walked with her. Just the two of them. No crowd, no news vans, just sidewalk and rhythm. As they passed the corner, he asked, "Do you feel different?" Mia tilted her head. "No," she said, "but I think they do." He smiled. She didn't see it, but she felt it in the silence that followed. Not heavy, but full. At the end of the block, she stopped and turned slightly toward a yard on her right. There was a tree where the lawn used to be. Its roots were new. The dirt was soft. She tapped it once with her cane, just a little, just enough, and kept walking.